As is tradition, guys, we will be doing the tier list for the Balance Council for June. For those of you who don't know, we have the tiers of top tier. These are changes I really like, I think are really exciting, might make some new cards and new decks, things that are overall great, or just things that are required, like some required reverts, I guess. Good overall changes. I like them, would like to try them out. Maybe not the most exciting things, maybe not the biggest impact, but overall still like them. Neutral, I'm not too sure one way or the other, either because I'm not sure it'll make a difference or because I don't really have that much of an opinion on it. Questionable are things I'm a little uncertain of and don't think will be a good idea, but I'm not sure about. Things I don't really like, but I'm not completely sure I don't like it. Like, I think it has some potential, but I don't think the potential for it to be good will be borne out. Bad are changes I just really don't like. Usually not too many of those. Constant, these are cards that change 4 or more times and are just always going to be on here. And then just for this one, we've started adding a new one. It's called Actually Makes Me Upset, because this, whatever goes in here, actually makes me upset, whether or not I would put it in constant or not. I will put some of the, if it's in constant, I think actually makes me upset. I'm going to throw it down here because these things are just really annoying and I don't like them for several reasons we'll talk about with the cards. Okay. To begin with, let's do provision increases. And we'll just start off with one that I really don't like. It's going to be Mahakam Forge, buffing it to 18 provisions because buffing leaders is... I don't need to say anything more about this. I've talked about buffing leaders before. Don't think it's a good idea. This... I don't know. Dwarves are not the most popular, but they always play precision strikes. I guess this is trying to motivate some play in the actual, allegedly the actual dwarf leader, but I don't know. I do know. I don't like this going to 18. You're just inflating the provisions that the deck gets, and this deck already plays a bunch of random stuff just because it has high provisions, with like Alzur, or just with Elven Seer to trigger off of this. It's a bunch of random things that play this. I'm not a fan of this going up anymore. Temple, getting a provision increase. Well, actually, that goes in constant, but I think I will mention from now on where the constants go. I like this, but it's constant. It was way too cheap. We have tier. I'm actually don't really like a tier nerf, but considering some things later, I'll put it in neutral. I thought tier was fine. Yeah, I kind of thought tier was fine. It is extremely powerful. It does take some setup, and allegedly, potentially, the setup cards are the issue there, not necessarily the tier. And mostly, not so much the setup cards are too much of a problem. It's just the deck the setup codes go in normally. But I thought tier was fine. Tier gets played in like different warrior decks, not just raid warriors, which is the one obviously people are nerfing it for. Then we have Novigrad. 14 is really expensive, but I guess it still is just coin generation that's constant and with really good carryover. I thought 13 was enough, but you know, maybe this is just this is kind of just a hit to Syndicate as a whole because they all play this, I guess. So I guess Bounty doesn't, but everything else kind of does. I guess we'll put that there. Kraken. Getting a provision, I don't like this. Kraken was fine. It had the 4 power, so it didn't kill itself. I thought that was fine. I don't know why we're nerfing the power. Maybe I missed something, but I didn't see a single Kraken the entire last season. So I might be missing out there what's going on, but I don't like it. Golden Necker to 13. It's been nerfed 4 times now, allowing it to fall into constant, because that would be the 4th change, although I don't like this. I guess people hate Golden Necker. Tainted Ale, I mean, this is just a placeholder to try and kill off the armor abuse deck. If people want to do that, they want to do it. Nothing we can do about it, but I don't like this. Without a redesign, which is not happening, this is only played in armor abuse, and the other cards in armor abuse are... Like, I don't even have a problem with that deck. It's really annoying and silly to play against, but if you have, like, a Purify and a Removal that loses, and it's not very consistent, because you just have so many cards for the combo, I don't like this. But I'll leave it in questionable, because I understand, and that deck's not fun to play against. Now we'll get to one that I actually really just don't like. Let's put this in here. Why? This card's just dead now. No one's playing this not off of Golden Necker, and if people thought the problem with Golden Necker Fruits, or Golden Necker Death Wish, whatever you want to call it, was Tome. Well, I guess it also played in Golden Necker Vampires and Golden Necker Relics. Those decks are all dead now. You just can't play them, which is fantastic. We'll just completely kill all of those decks. The problem you thought was with those decks, You can just nerf Golden Necker, which we already did. It lost the provision. And you can just nerf the other cards in deck like Riptide. Without Riptide, the decks don't have much control. That's also going to be on here later. So this just seems like just killing the decks completely. I think this is silly. It just kills this card. No one's going to use it, which makes me kind of upset because it's an interesting card. Whatever. And there he is. Put him in here. I mean, Riptide, 9, 10 power, 9, 10 provisions. It's going to be played either way, so whatever. Just how much you want to nerf monsters or buff monsters for the patch. Can't be played in Golden Necker at 10, though. Not that that really matters, because no one's going to be doing that with this gone. I guess you could play Arachis Swarm, Golden Necker still. But I guess that doesn't use this. Everything else that's Golden Necker and monsters is dead now. Seagull. Okay, this is another card going in here. This Seagull thing is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. I don't understand. We saw what happened with Seagull. Is the idea to make it 2 power for 5? It's still broken. Completely broken still. Is it going to be 2 power for 6? Well, what's it? It's 13 with 8 points. It's 13 with, what, 6 points of carryover? Still broken. So I don't know what the idea is here. Is it going to be a 2 for 7? There's no world in which buffing this thing's provisions and power is going to be better than just leaving it at 1 for 4. Because it played for 4 or 7, depending if you killed something. Saw play in several different decks. Saw play in Pirates. Sees play in the Lippy decks with the Funeral Boats. Yeah, just sees play at 1 for 4. It was fine. The obsession with making this card broken, I just don't get. People just get fixated on it because they thought they could fix the broken mistake when it went to 2 power, and they're trying to make some way where it could be 2 power. It's dumb. Just leave it at 1 for 4. This is wasting a whole bunch of slots, and it's silly. That's all I gotta say about that. Manor. Manor. Let's see, what are the other 14 provision scenarios? Yeah. Siege is 13, so why can't this be 13? Okay, let's just go with that. It's not the best argument. No, but I do like this change. I would like to see some Manor get played over Renfri in Koshei decks, because Renfri, it should be at least competitive, and Renfri's just usually objectively better than playing Manor. But I like this. It gives you extra provision to those decks. Maybe make some play there. Get played some there. Amphibious Assault is going to go in here, but I don't like it because this card's incredibly strong. It buffs the thing you get, protects your engines, has Echo. It's like Oneiromancy for bronzes or golds that aren't expensive, but that buffs them, giving you really good synergies and protection. It's incredibly good. Is that all the provision decreases? This is the first decrease, right? 1, okay. I always forget these. Make a note of this. But yeah, provision decreases now. We've got this one and we've got this one. Provision decreases. I'm sorry, I'll put the chapter title in the wrong spot. Yorvith's Gambit, this is probably good. No one plays this. Traps, I haven't seen a single trap deck. Yeah, in a long time. Maybe give you a little bit of here. It's not the most fun deck to play against, but it should at least be viable. And at the moment, it doesn't seem to be. So giving them a way to play 2 traps in 1 round with Gambit, I kind of like it. We probably still won't play it, but it's interesting. Coup is a bad change. Why does this have to be 9? It's incredibly good even at 10. Just buffing it for the sake of buffing Nilfgaard. But it's going to go down here in constant. Oh, we like this one. Olaf's cool. Olaf is a card that obviously has been power crept. Has a couple very specific synergies, like with a self-wound tap or self-damage tap from an order, and with Heim, which also doesn't see play. But it has some synergies like that. Has some really interesting applications. It can just absorb damage. You can put it out there. Really random one. You can put it out there, then it gets hit by Arnagon, and you have its order or something like that. But yeah, very cool card. Just kind of a classic. It's a classic of Skellige that just got power crept. Knut the Callous into this used to be a thing that happened all the time, but now not so much. But 9 provisions, much more stomachable to put this in a deck, and we'll probably try that out. Becker's Rock Slide, sure. This is what, 8 for 7 damage as opposed to like 6 for 6. Yeah, it's fine. Maybe we'll see play at 7, although I kind of doubt it. Maybe a couple experimentations. It is a spell at the end of the day. We'll put this in good. Probably better got changed. Cupbearers, good change. This card doesn't get played even in the deck it's supposed to go in, which is Status Aristocrats. It was just a little bit too weak. So, giving the deck a provision there if you want to protect this in. I like it. We have this one. You can tell by the Sai. I hate the Highland Warlord at 5. When you play Highland Warlord, it's almost always 6 to 8 points of carryover damage unconditionally. You just play it. 6 to 8 points of carryover on a 5 version card. It's damage carryover. Doesn't make sense, but everyone can't handle the raid deck being nerfed, so here we are. And the fact that this keeps going back to 5 means stuff like Tyr gets nerfed when it doesn't need to be, in my opinion. Like, I thought Tyr was fine, but now that we have this, well, I guess gotta nerf Warlords. Being really sarcastic today. I don't know why that is. Elephant Onion Soup. It's a good one. I think you can replay this with what's it called now? The Druid. So I don't think it says bronze on it, does it? Yeah, I just checked. This can be replayed with Crow Clan Druid. It doesn't say bronze alchemy on it, so you can replay this. Not sure how much that actually matters. Mostly just going to be a buff for the casino decks that want to play this in the Ermion and Crow Mothers. But it's certainly an option there if you ever get another situation where you could do it like a second Crow Mother. And I don't know, like Musicians of Blaviken that came out at the start. So overall, I like this card. It's a fun one. It does minus points to get something that's not consistent, but I like that. Now we'll get to one that's pretty questionable. I am split about this one. On the one hand, Shackles at 5, never going to see play. Shackles at 4 is a neutral 4 provision lock you can throw in any deck. I don't think I like that, but it can't be played in like Renfrey decks, obviously. Which is the deck that probably most like a 4 provision neutral lock. I guess they're mostly Nilfgaard at this point, playing the trio, so they have a lot of locks. But I'm just concerned that this at 4 means we're going to see a lot of random locks out of decks. That this might be a little obnoxious to play against. Now, this does mean you can do control druids, which we'll probably try. We just spam this thing over and over to lock stuff. Probably try that out. I don't hate this. I think it has potential to be fine. I'm just a little concerned about it. So we'll have to see what this one is. I could like this. I just am a little concerned. So I have to find out. This is one that I expected would eventually go to 4 and we'd experiment with. So we'll see. Ice getting buffed. I like it. Let's put him up here. It's a really top tier. I mean, it won't be top tier. It won't take over Skellige with the Highland Warlords getting provisions back. But I'll just say I like it. I like Iced. Cool card. This does mean he goes to 6 without King Bran. It means he's a little bit harder to remove for that second proc. If you don't, well, usually you can only use trigger 1 proc when you play him anyway. A little bit easier to stick around, get the second one off, get more value because he has fallen out of favor. Warriors, Skellige just want to do different stuff, but I think Ice is a cool card. It has some interesting synergies that make things like Blaze of Glory much more appealing, and even with like Coral out, you can discard with Coral's Order while this is out. Stuff like that. So I like this change. So then say Synthesis up to 9 for 9. These are in power increases, in case you couldn't tell, because I forgot to tell you. But yeah, these are the 2 power increases we're at right now. So Synthesis 9 for 9. Really like this. Card's completely power crept, only used in place. It's only used in certain dragon decks as another dragon name. It used to be just a classic card in Scoia'tael. But yeah, 9 for 9. I much more like this. Why am I unable to talk today? I don't know. But yeah, I much like this. Again, unable to talk. Probably won't edit that out. You guys will have to deal with it. I'm sorry. But yeah, so Synthesis, I like this. 9 for 9. Probably still won't see play outside of Dragons. A little bit more compelling. I guess at 9, it can protect some stuff from Curse of Corruption. The immunity doesn't really matter for most cases, although it is just an immune body you can play at the end, like a no-unit type deck. So there is that. Interesting card. If you double S, you can play this, then you're gored. Interesting change. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, so I'll just leave it in good, but good change nonetheless. Sometimes I throw cards in random categories before I talk about them. Next up, we have Ruin. I really like this one. Ruin gained a power before. It saw a little bit of play, not much. United gained another one. And at 5 power, it's pretty compelling to use Ruin for these Death Wish decks. Yeah, it's pretty compelling. I wonder if with Ruin, Caranthir, and Nekker, you could make a Death Wish deck without Tome. It seems a little bit dangerous to do. Not dangerous. It seems a little less consistent. Seems like it doesn't have as good of a round 3 really to rely on those Ruin consumes. But maybe there's something there. Maybe we'll try that out. Golden Neck or Ruin instead of using the Tome. I said removing Tome probably killed those decks. I'm sure it killed Golden Necker Vampires and Relics, but maybe there's some hope for a Ruin Golden Necker deck. Maybe. I'm excited to see this card, though. Yalmar, one of my favorite cards. Its ability is, it's just a solid. At 4 base power now, it has a it has a higher ceiling. What happened a lot with Yalmar is you'd want to remove something pretty key. Say like, take last patch, they played a Chameleon. You have to kill the Chameleon, you're banishing like a 9 power Bear Witcher to do it. You're wasting a bunch of damage. It's not playing for that much overall, but it's killing a valuable engine. Now it gets a little bit more power on the board. He doesn't have Veteran, so he's not scaling up like the other warriors. Overall, just a good buff to one of my favorite Skellige cards. Peruvial, this is a buff to Elves. This is one of the cards that wasn't played in the old Elf decks. This is definitely just a good change. She gained to power as well. I like to see it. Give her a little bit more value on her order. Usually her order is a bit, not her order, her deploy. Her deploy usually doesn't play for a ton of value, but sometimes it plays for a lot. This will help make her a little more consistent, make her a little bit better in those cases where the opponent doesn't have a huge row of stuff. So I do like that. Urchin of Erlenwald. This is going to have to happen eventually. Glad to see it. I actually wanted to play this card recently and went to use it, and I completely thought this buff had already happened. I thought it was already at 5 with 1 armor. I was going to put it in a deck, and I clicked on it. I was like, this is only 4 and 1 armor. But yeah, now it's 5 and 1 armor. We'll probably use it. Glad to see him finally getting buffed. This is kind of the stat line it needs, especially as an engine. That's a gold. It does have Veil, so it can't be locked. It has to be killed. And yeah, hopefully, I kind of doubt this will make it into any true spying decks with this flip to the other form, but you never know. I'd like to see some use out of this guy. Sergeant, I actually, by the way, think Sergeant at 6 is fine, or 4 power's fine, and Slave Driver at 3 for 6 was, where's Slave Driver? Can't do that, it's not the right category. Yeah, I think this is fine. Whatever, it's extremely good, but I think it's okay. Didn't see a single one. Actually, I think we saw like 2 of these last season. Just 1-ofs and a couple of tactics decks, but got cut. Temerian Infantry. Everyone remembers the infantry spam decks. This is what, like 5 power and 5 provisions, was it? I might be making that up. I don't remember exactly. Could check. It doesn't feel like a constant card to me, so I guess we'll leave it up here. We're making an executive decision. Things in constant are only things that actually are being constantly changed. Golden Necker doesn't quite make it in there, so I'm putting it bad. Yeah, that makes sense. It's been 4, but it doesn't feel like it's constantly getting changed, so I'm just going to put it in this one. Executive choice. Temerian Infantry. It plays in the decks that just spam it and keep copying it, and like casting contests, all that stuff. It has been nerfed pretty heavily. 6 provisions, 2 power, going to 3 as formation. It usually does 8 unless you let the Radipid live, in which case it does 10 on its order. I'm willing to try it. We'll see. The deck has been nerfed pretty heavily. Flotsam got nerfed too. I'm not too sure how this will go. It's probably fine. I did play one of these decks last season, though. On to the final category. Not quite. We have 2 more power increases first. Onel Conqueror, not even played in Frost. Hopefully now it makes it into Frost. I guess sometimes it's a 1-of in Frost, but I don't think it's standard in Frost. Just not enough points. So hopefully this gets some play. Turncoat was fine already, I thought. It was fine, but not great. Like, it was a card you'd put in like a 1-of in some decks. Or you want to save a provision in your tactics deck and play it instead of the Mage Torturer to give out spying. Well, neutral. I thought it was already pretty decent. It's probably still fine. Probably doesn't make too much of a difference. Chameleon had to go back. It's a crazy change. Why they go to 5, I don't understand. Flying Redanian. I'm not sure how I feel about this. This is just overall nerf to a lot of these Syndicate decks, kind of like this. It is 4 carryover instead of 3. This puts it into range of stuff like Swears and Amnesty. Being an Amnesty range is pretty painful for this card, but yeah, I don't really feel strongly about this one. Griffin Ranger, losing a power. These are the power decreases, as once again I forgot to say it before doing the first card, so I'm excited to get through this. Ranger, I just don't know. I don't understand why this got nerfed. I didn't see anyone. Actually, I saw one person play this in Falibor Knights, but that was it. I don't know what's going on with this. So I'm just gonna put it in neutral. Egg, Harpy Egg. I feel like Toad losing a power might have been a better target. I don't know about Harpy Egg. It's good. It's 10 for 5 when consumed. It does take a consume. It does put it. Yeah, I don't know. At 9 for 5, this was 9 for 5 forever. Like, okay, the I guess all these cards are just massively nerfing the Golden Necker Death Wish / Fruit Death Wish deck. Is that what we're doing here? Riptide's a nerf to that. This kills it completely. This is a nerf to it. I guess that's what we're doing. We're just nerfing it. Okay. In absence of these, this might have been fine. As it is, the deck's just dead. So this is just only now going to see playing regular Death Wish, maybe with Ruin if we're being fancy. Rot Fiend's now the best 5 provision, pure value. Consume target if it hits its full damage, which it usually doesn't, so that's why Egg's better. I don't know how I feel about this. It nerfs Harpies from Solano Harpies as well. Guess that Renfree deck did get some nerfs there then. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have done this, but we'll see how it turns out. This one, where is it? Why are we doing this again? Why are we giving Tatterwing 3 more provisions? Does not make sense. I despise Tatterwing as a deck. It's completely unfun to play against. Their game plan is incredibly linear. You know what they're going to do like every game. The only thing that changes is sometimes they throw Tatterwing down round 1 or 2 because they feel like they're getting destroyed. Or they feel like they can 2-0 you. But yeah, this I doesn't make sense to me. This is just going back to 4, sure. Yes, it was already good at 4 before it got buffed to 5, but never get back to 4. I don't really care. It was good. It was good. It was 6 for 4 with a good order, so I guess we'll give it good. Slave Driver is going constant, although I think this and this are, for my opinion, for those who want to know, I think this and this are fine. This at 4 for 6, and this at 3 for 6. I think that's okay. I think this is the best balance we're going to get on these two, but it's going to get changed again, so it doesn't matter what I say there. Stefan loses a power. A very popular deck. Him losing a power is not that big a hit to the deck, though, and it did gain back its Nausicaa's if it wants them, for the gain back extra power on them. So did I make my temple snip really big? Oh, I did. Whoops. That's why it's offset. I just threw at the end. That's even uglier. Never mind. I'm not too keen on this one way or the other. It does trigger assimilates 4 times, so its full value is not just in its order. I guess 3 times you're playing Shoop with this, but you don't see that very often. So that was a really good deck. Put it in good. Do we put it in good? Yeah, probably deserves it. Torres. It's 1 power nerf to the first form. The first form's tempo is kind of obnoxious because they just take like 1 gold and 2 bronzes. Then all of a sudden this guy's playing for like 13 points and they put a Lord Riptide in your deck or something like that. So it has very good potential. You can just point slam it round 1 for like 20 points. I guess it's not quite 20 anymore. Somewhere. It's a lot of points. I am kind of neutral on this one, to be honest. I see it. I'll put it by tier. Kind of same thing for me. I can see it, but it is only played in 1 deck. The deck was very good, but I think this nerf's probably better. But we'll see. And last of all, Vesemir Mentor. This is a good change. This is hit the Skellige Witchers. When they point slam this thing on all their little dudes, they get a whole bunch of value. This makes the point slam a little bit worse, and it means that they're forced to use it in a suboptimal time, like you're bleeding them round 2, they didn't get it round 1, you've been killing off their tokens. It means it's not just as much points on its own. So overall, I do like that. Let's just go through and make sure there's nothing I feel like I want to change here. These are all really great. Yeah, these are all ones I like. I'm kind of throwing this in neutral. I don't like a slave assimilate or a slave tactics, but yeah, I feel better with this one here. I don't have a strong opinion about Stefan. It's really good. These, yeah, I'm pretty neutral on these. Maybe we're just feeling in a neutral mood today. Maybe that's what it is. Questionable. Yep, good with that. Bad. Constant. Yeah, those are constant. And actually makes me upset that we added here. I just don't think killing like 3 decks at once with this nerf is a good choice. No one is going to play this outside of Golden Necker, so the card's just dead now. And I hate when we just kill cards for no reason. Golden Necker got nerfed. Egg got nerfed. Riptide got nerfed. Why kill the deck by removing this? I guess everyone doesn't know that, but everyone does know if you kill this, the decks die, so I hate that. And then Seagull. I don't get Seagull. People trying to do this, if you explain to me, I'm not going to agree with you either way, so probably not worth it. And then Lara just buffing Tatterwing because we need to buff Tatterwing. No idea why that is. But anyway, guys, that will be it. We'll go on to the season summary now. And if you guys are curious what we played last season, stick around for that. As I always say with that part, though, it's just my experience on the ladder. It's not an actual representation of the ladder. It's just what I saw in my game. Sometimes I run into stuff people don't see. Sometimes I don't see the stuff you guys are seeing. It's just a bit of fun to see what we played against last season. So let's get into that next. For faction distribution this season, we saw 24% Nilfgaard. That is pretty normal. Then we had 18% Skellige, 18% Syndicate. That's really high. Usually Syndicate's pretty low. Probably on account of how many buffs they got last season. They became very popular and very, very good. Then we had 16% Northern Realms, 14% Monsters, and 11% Scoia'tael. Again, not much surprising here other than the popularity of Syndicate, which is almost always the least popular faction. Probably has to do with how good the faction got with all of its buffs last patch. And just a bunch of decks became really strong in that faction. And it did get a lot of buffs. There were also some interesting things to try out, so I'm going to see people playing that. As for the specific decks people were playing, though, let's go on to here. This is one of my favorites. So Monsters. Most popular deck we played was Golden Necker Deathwish, but only at 3 times. Everything else here was tied at 2. Tatterwing, which is Sabbath Ogroids. I think there was a Renfrey Ogroids too, which I didn't combine, but there's a third Ogroid here with the Renfrey in it. Renfrey Koshei Harpies, and V, of course. Tatterwing was only countered the highest on the ladder, though. But yeah, not too surprised here. These decks have been pretty popular, and probably some of these have been in here for a while, actually. I think we've seen mostly these. No Frost this season, though. Most popular Nilfgaard decks. Well, no one's going to be surprised by this. It's Enslave Assimilate, followed by just Renfrey midrange, then Clog. 9 Enslave Assimilate, 7 Renfreys, and 6 Clogs. It's a lot of games. Then we had a couple of Sandor Constructs, a couple of regular Constructs, and the 2 Shoop Assimilates. Of these, the Assimilates, just Enslave Assimilate, Enslave Tactics, whatever you want to call it, performed the best. And we saw quite a few of it, few people playing it on the ladder. For Northern Realms, we have Temple Demvent as always, with every time Temple gets nerfed, Amphibious Assault gets buffed. Every time Amphibious Assault gets nerfed, Temple gets buffed, so the deck never actually loses anything. And yeah, it just always is the best Northern Realms deck in our games, at least it seems like. There's probably something better. Well, maybe not. It seems like the best one in my opinion. We've got Meditating Mages. I don't know why. We ran to 4 of those this season. That was weird. Then a few Reavers, a couple Shoop Erlins, a couple Cohen Witchers, a couple Traveling Priestesses. The Shoop Erlins we countered higher up on the ladder than the other ones, but for the most part, it was pretty... The Temple Demon is pretty close to our average MMR, and the Temple or Shoop Erlin was higher. In case you guys have not been on this before, and at this point you're probably really confused, this is how many games we played with it. The number here is the MMR above or below the average MMR of the games I played this season that we encountered the deck. So if our average MMR is 2450, we've encountered this at 2482 on average, and this one at like 2437. That's just what the numbers are. Skellige, I know this one without even having to type this in, or without even having to check the data, I should say. 14 Skellige Witcher decks, all about our average MMR for the season. A couple Raid Warriors and a couple Pirates, but yeah, 14 Skellige Witchers. If you had to ask me what was the most common deck we played, what was a typical game from last season? A typical game last season for me would have been against Skellige Witchers at about our average MMR, because that's just what we kept playing. It was actually really annoying, so we're trying to play some decks with some fun tall pin finishers, but... Pretend there was not a cut there because I messed up my graph by accident. But it's fixed. Scoia'tael. Most popular one was Harmony. Probably also coming with the very unnecessary Chameleon buff. Double Golden Necker Orbs we saw twice, and then Symbiosis. But Harmony was the most common one. Still didn't see too much Scoia'tael though. So yeah. And as far as Syndicate, most common one here would be Akarantia with like Off the Books. with all the buffs that received. A couple Captain Yago mid-ranges, gangs, poison salamanders. Don't really like playing against those. A couple bounties, some golden necker bounties, and then a couple town soak spam. So yeah, oops, probably should center this. How about that? Yeah, a lot of Syndicate, but just a lot of it, which was not too surprising, but Acherontia seemed to be the highest performing. Yeah, the Acherontia gangs, mostly Acherontia. The gangs were more at the beginning of the season, so these were more once we'd climbed the ladder a bit. But yeah, Acherontia seems to be the one that was the best performing. And overall, the most popular dex is not correct because we have to make a quick edit here to our axis because last season it was at 7. Let's just do this before I re-automate it later. Yeah, so most common decks here we have are Skellige Witchers, then Enslave Assimilate, Renfri Nilfgaard, Clog, Harmony, Temple Demoven, Acherontia, Meditang Mages, and Captain Yago. Not my favorite decks, to be honest. A lot of these decks I don't like playing against, which is why we didn't play that much this season. Surprise, surprise. As far as leaders, most popular monsters leaders was Fruits of Ysgith, followed by Hunger, Arachnoswarm, and Carapace. We did see at least one of each monsters leader. Actually, did I say there were no Frost? There was one Frost we played, but we only put things we countered more than once on the last graphs. For Northern Realms, it was Pincer Maneuver, beating out Inspired Zeal for the first time I can remember. Yeah, just a lot of decks were playing Pincer Maneuver in my games at least. Bit of a surprise. Quite a bit of a surprise, but I guess it's got some of the Cohen decks did, Erland does, and then so does a couple of the Meditang Mage decks did as well. And then we had, what's it called? The Traveling Priestess. So yeah, we saw at least one of each as well, which was interesting. For Scoia'tael, Call of Harmony, Nature's Gift, Girl Tactics, Prison Strike, and one Invigorate. No Deadeye Ambush, no Oaxacan Forge at all. Really unfortunate. Elves was popular for an entire season, and then the Erland got a 1 power nerf, and we haven't seen it since. I don't know if that's just a popularity thing. For Skellige, he had 14 Reckless Flurries, 5 Onslaughts, then a couple of the other ones, but no Rage of the Sea, no Battle Trance. Because Druids have been kind of destroyed in the past couple patches. And the Rage of the Sea, Rain is unplayable, so the only thing you can do is play like the Renfri Rain, which no one wants to do. Well, that's not true. Some people do. Nilfgaard's most popular leader was Tactical Decision, followed by Enslave. A lot of the Enslave Assimilate decks were playing different leaders. So we had some playing Imprisonment, some playing some playing Double Cross, and some playing I think one playing Imposter. But yeah, so a couple of leaders there were combined for this. For those decks. We saw different leaders combined to do that. But yeah, Tactical Decision. Actually, we saw some in Tactical Decision too. Some people playing just tactics with Tactical Decision. Not sure what's up with that. A lot of variety in the Assimilate and Slave decks. But anyway, this is Nilfgaard's most popular leaders. No Toussaint Hospitality this season, but everything else making some appearances, although some of them are used for the same deck, so all the double crosses were used for Enslave Assimilate decks. For Syndicate, most popular leader was Jackpot, followed by Off the Books, Pirate's Cove, Blood Money, and Cash, Aligned Pockets. No Congregations because, well, Pyre's Horn's just not very good, unfortunately. So overall, the most popular leaders were Reckless Flurry, Tactical Decision, Pincer Maneuver, Jackpot, Call of Harmony, Enslave, Fruits, Inspired Zeal, Onslaught, Off the Books, Blood Money, Overwhelming Hunger. Yeah, makes some sense. A lot of these go with decks that you probably saw this season. And then as far as the least popular leaders, none of the Deadeye Ambush, Forge, Rage of the Sea, Battle Trance, Toussaint, and Congregation. Didn't one of these guys over here. So overall that's it for the leaders, I would say. Overall, I guess we have to do a couple more things still. Neutral packages. That's right, I can't forget this. We had about 4% of our games were against Renfri, about 4% were Golden Necker, then like some contracts, which are all Nilfgaard, some Shoops, and a dragon or two. No bombs. As far as devotion, it went down again. 75% non-devotion, 25% devotion. Yeah, just devotion is just falling out of favor even more and more. Hardly see any of it. And then as far as everyone's favorite category, which for some reason, if I forget this, people always comment it. We had 3 disconnectors. a Renfree Koshie Harpy player, a Phalaborn Knight player, the only one. We heat waved his Ale and he disconnected, and a Shoop Erland player who we forced the Erland out round 2 and he left the game. So, yeah. Overall, this was last season. It was interesting. A lot of decks I didn't like playing against, to be honest. So I didn't make too many videos at the beginning of the season. We started writing to all the same stuff over again. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll see you next time with some hopefully fun decks for the next patch. Although I don't have the highest hopes for this one, to be honest. But we'll see.